Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'm the president of CONVERGED User Group, Jonathan Toulon. I am honored to be joined today by Ritch Houdek. He is the SVP of Technology for Kohl's Corporation to learn more about their IT transformation journey. Rich, thanks for taking the time to join us today. You're doing such an incredible things at Kohl's. I can't wait to get into it. But first off, please tell the folks a little bit about yourself.
Sure, JT. Well, first of all, thanks for having me today. It's good to be with you. I love getting the opportunity to tell people a little bit about what we're doing here. Uh, Before I tell you about myself, though, can I tell you a little bit about Kohl's? Uh,
Absolutely.
so, Kohl's was founded in 1962. So we're coming up on our 60-year anniversary. We have 1,162 stores. We're in 49 states. The only state where we don't have a store yet is Hawaii. And I'm not sure if when or if that's going to happen. But here's an interesting fact that 80% of the US population lives within 15 miles of a Kohl's store. So we have a really big footprint all across this great country. Historically, we've been a department store, but I'll tell you recently, we've been making a lot of inroads to becoming a little bit, to start to differentiate ourselves a little bit from traditional department store. And that is to really become the retailer of choice for the active and casual lifestyle. And the thing that differentiates Kohl's is we can help in these areas for the entire family with a really great mix of both the brands we all know and love, like Nike and Adidas, and but also some great private brands. So it's a really exciting time to be here at Kohl's. Um, 65 million customers across the country, 30 million loyalty customers. So it's great to be here. A little bit about myself, though. I've been here at Kohl's now about 11 years. I Kohl's is headquartered in Menominee Falls, Wisconsin. So we're a suburb of Milwaukee. And oddly enough, I went to high school. I graduated from Menominee Falls High School.
Wow.
So it's funny, growing up, Kohl's was here. I never really thought about a career at Kohl's. I never really thought about Kohl's being a technology kind of a company. And here I am now, 11 years into it, and just thrilled to be here. And I've come to realize that it takes an incredible amount of technology to run a chain of this size. But more importantly, every capability that we're trying to unlock here or improve on has a large technology kind of component to it. So it's great to be here. I run infrastructure and operations. I also, my team's responsible for the platform or the PaaS, platform as a service, desktop, all the service management functions, and vendor management. So that's what I do here at Kohl's.
That's a huge footprint and a huge responsibility. But that's why you're the man in charge. So appreciate that overview, Rich, not only of Kohl's, but of your background. And I'm assuming that each location has a 3-node VxRail cluster.
Yeah, so even though our company is seeing increasing digital penetration, our stores remain just an absolutely critical part of of the way we interact with our customers. And to do that, every store has a certain amount of technology in it, right? And even though we have a lot of capabilities in our data centers and we have a lot of capabilities in the cloud, there still is a footprint at all of our stores that allow us to transact even if we were to lose network connectivity. And yeah, henceforth, there is a 3-node VxRail cluster in all of our stores at this point.
Wow, that's a pretty big footprint. We're probably almost roughly over 3,000 nodes. That's a significant footprint.
It
So
is.
can you share like what started you on the VxRail journey?
Sure. So I've been here about 11 years now, and as long as I've been here, there's always been a certain amount of compute capacity at the stores. And our previous generation solution was getting old. I think it was coming up on like a 5-year-old kind of age. And we are starting to experience failures at a pretty high rate. And I would tell you that older equipment, right? I mean, that's kind of what you would expect. A lot of disk failures. Um, Even more problematic, though, we were starting to see more and more RAID controller failures. And what I tell you, JT, is that the failures almost always required human intervention. Okay, so it just took an admin to get involved and to remap the storage or do whatever was required. And with 1,162 stores and in that many nodes, I mean that became actually a pretty time consuming thing for us. So as we look to tech refresh all of that equipment, what we always look to do with tech refresh is use it as an opportunity to take the next step forward. And that's what led us to VxRail. There were a couple things we wanted to do. First of all, we were running low on capacity. As we try to unlock new capabilities in the stores, we wanted to get more horsepower in the stores. And so that was one consideration. We wanted to put in a solution that did not require so much human intervention. And I think a big part of that is the hyperconverged solution, right? So a lot of us have been doing this for a while, and we remember the days where we had to assemble all the pieces and parts and check all the compatibility matrices to make sure everything would run, and when we patched that we wouldn't break anything and so forth. So I really think that we've accomplished those goals with VxRail. First of all, we have a little more horsepower in there. We went from a 2-node to a 3-node cluster. There's more automated resiliency built into the platform. We can lose a physical node and the other nodes can pick up the 100% of the workload. And we have more automation built into the platform. So we've actually worked with Dell to build out a patching pipeline, if you will. So much like our software development teams have their pipelines, we have our own pipelines to do infrastructure patching as well. So I would say that yeah, the journey started with high failure rates, out of horsepower, and the need for more automation. So that's what really led us here.
And when you went down the hyperconverged route, was it just Dell, or did you look at other solutions and just came to the conclusion that Dell had a more baked product that fit all the requirements that you all were looking for?
Yeah, so that's a great question. We actually did look at some other solutions. In fact, 2 of them, to be precise. And I think there are other good technologies out there, right? What really set us apart, though, or what set Dell apart in this journey was when we're in 49 states, right? And we need to get teams to all of those stores to for multiple visits, right? There's one is to take delivery of the equipment, 2 is to get it set up, 3 is to run the replication, 4 is to get the old stuff out. You know, we really needed a partner that had that kind of presence across the country. And we really felt good about Dell's field capabilities. And I would tell you that our bet paid off. I mean, Dell really did a nice job. They were a great partner. This was our best rollout we've done. And this is the 3rd rollout for me that I've been a part of. And so I think apart from the technology, which we thought was fantastic, the capability to get the technology rolled out was equally important for us. And that was a big part of our consideration for Dell. In fact, Dell even did all of the staging of the equipment for us. So yeah, they took on a pretty big piece of the deployment.
Yeah, I mean that's huge, right? Not only is it important to have a really good product, but the experience of implementation is also very important, right? Because
Yeah,
it kind of solidifies the decision that you made was correct, specifically for your business.
yeah.
So, any key lessons learned in that process? Any best practices you want to share? I really like the whole patching part of what you're doing for your VxRail environment. A lot
Yeah,
of people don't look at it in the same aspect, but to take that software delivery side and kind of
yeah,
apply it to infrastructure makes you
yeah,
very efficient.
yeah. I agree, JT. It's really been, I would say, over the last few years, a pretty exciting development in the infrastructure space is to see us adopt a lot of the principles that the software side of the house has been using for many years, and we're developing our own pipelines and automations, and yeah, it's great. So as far as lessons learned, yeah, I think there's always lessons learned. I would tell you, I'm happy that we did a better job. I think that whenever you do a large deployment like this across the country, um, the more you can kind of prepare in advance, the better, right? And to, we try our very best to keep our stores in a very consistent state, because if they're all snowflakes, it's really impossible to manage to manage them right at that scale. So as much as we try to keep all of those IDFs or MDFs at the stores consistent, there is some amount of variance that we encounter. And I think we could have probably done a little better job of preparing in advance or conducting more thorough surveys in advance. That would be, I think, our biggest learning from this. So we've rededicated ourselves to managing that drift and making sure that everything stays super consistent. I think the other lesson learned that we had with Dell is that they actually supplied a resident engineer to oversee this, right? So I really think that was an important piece of this overall solution, because we have our engineers, we have level 2 engineers, level 3 engineers, then you have the Dell team, and this Dell resident, if you will, was able to keep everyone connected, right? So he was in our chat spaces, and then he could turn and work with the Dell team internally. And I would say that was a big part of the success as well. So I would encourage anyone maybe running a deployment like this to consider a resident engineer to take part of it.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Very familiar with the residents. It actually allowed me and my previous company to kind of transition to how you support the environment. So question to you is was that a big help in how you transition your engineers into supporting this type of infrastructure? And on top of that, how many people are within the team to support the infrastructure?
Sure. So yes, the answer is yes, that this resident engineer really helped bring our team up to speed and taught us a lot. It was a new stack for us, quite frankly, and to be able to learn that stack and then support it at scale, that was a very important part of the solution. So today we really run that entire fleet with somewhere between 1 and 2 engineers support that fleet. So, and that's just a testament to a couple things, right? One, having a really good, consistent deployment, and then 2, having it very highly automated, right? So that there's a lot of resiliency built into the platform, and we don't have to be every day out there intervening on the command line, right? Trying to keep everything running. So yeah, it's been a good overall story for us.
That's great. How did it affect the way you all did business within your stores? I'm assuming due to the improvement in your infrastructure, the experience for customers evolved as well.
Yeah, sure. So we keep really good metrics about store issues or incidents. And I can tell you that we've taken a very, very large bite out of disruptions to stores. And we have a lot of capabilities in the stores so that even if there's a network issue, we can kind of work around that. If there's even a server storage issue, we can generally work around that. But I'll tell you what, to the extent that this stuff just runs without us worrying about it, it just makes our jobs easier because the stuff's just been reliable and there's less workarounds, there's less disruption to the stores to say take their registers to offline mode, and we don't want them to have to worry about that, right? We want them to be interacting with our customers and helping our customers have a great experience in our stores. So anything we can do to remove the noise and just let them do their job is a really, really good thing. I think the other big thing is just around capacity, JT. This is a tricky one, right? Because you want to have enough capacity in the stores to transact business and have some growth, but you don't want to like put so much capacity in the store where you're not really using it, right? So you've overspent. So I think finding that right balance, I think we did a good job of that, of putting the right amount of capability into the store with the ability to expand to a fourth node. And we're positioned to do that if we were to need to pull that lever. So yeah, I think it's helped us just run our stores more efficiently. They're more stable, they're more resilient, and that's a good thing for those store associates. They appreciate that.
Yeah, that's a huge testament to VxRail, the technology, right? When you say you have 1 to 2 engineers managing 3,000 nodes, that's very impressive, right? Not only have you done a really good job in due diligence from creating a process that allows that, but also to your point, it just works, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It takes so much workload and so much stress and pressure off of engineers, allowing them to be more efficient in other areas.
Yeah. And I think that's it, JT. You've hit the nail on the head. Look, there's a lot of other things that need our attention, right? So when we can kind of get one in a really good spot, then we can go focus on solving that next set of problems, right? And that's what we've been trying to do here.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm impressed. That's quite the setup.
Yeah.
Not many people can accomplish it, so you can definitely continue to pat yourself on the back. So I did have another question around the holiday season. So my previous company, our schedule was really locked down around the holidays due to a peak season. So in peak seasons, do you still have the ability to do upgrades, or do you kind of just go into a hard freeze?
Well, I'll tell you what, we aspire to be able to do upgrades year round.
Awesome.
We believe that we want to just get so good at that if there's a patch needed, that we have the confidence that we can roll it out without disruption. So with that said, our stores are though really busy over the holidays. So we are very cautious with what we do there. But I would tell you over the last several years, with our higher levels of automation and better architectures, we've been able to do more changes during the peak season than we traditionally done. We used to have a very hard freeze, but I believe we've gotten more mature and we have more confidence in our capabilities. So if there's something important that we feel needs to get rolled out, we'll do that.
That's amazing. I wish there were a lot more leaders like you with the confidence in your team as well as in your technology to be able to take those chances. A ton of respect to that. I am the guy that likes to try to do that as well. but you got to kind of get the environment in a place to be able to do that.
Right, right.
So one last question. I know it might be off of what when we talk hyperconverge or converge, but the other day you had mentioned VeloCloud. So can you give us some details around what you're doing with VeloCloud and how it has allowed you to be a lot more innovative and I guess efficient from a store's perspective?
Sure, sure. So happy to address that. So we did a similar kind of analysis around SD-WAN, and we looked at a number of technologies again. And our goal here really was to provide better connectivity, more reliable connectivity to our stores, but more importantly, to have the insight into the different application types. So point of sale traffic, right? That's got to be a top priority. Um, and we have other functions that we do in our stores. And I just felt like we never quite had the visibility that we needed to really ensure that those critical traffic patterns got the priority that they needed. Even though we had some basic capabilities around quality of service and so forth, we really felt that Velo gave us kind of that next step forward where we could really manage that network at a much more granular level and prioritize traffic by type and make sure that we were giving the stores the best throughput possible, that the right traffic was on the right path, whether it be out to the cloud or back to corporate. And then we could just have better controls over our network. And store connectivity is a very important thing for us. There's a lot of communication that flows over those networks, and we felt like we'd have better control with an SD-WAN type solution than we had in the past. Very similar to our compute and storage solution, we did a bake-off for SD-WAN as well. And what we were really trying to do was get better insight into our store connectivity. So we have a collection of tools today, and we have some basic kind of quality of service capabilities. But we really felt like that next generation of capabilities would be required as we go forward. So there's two specific problems we were trying to solve. One, we wanted to have better visibility into the network traffic. And if we have better visibility, we can prioritize the traffic more appropriately. So our point of sale traffic can get top priority, and we can make sure it's traversing the best path, whether it be out to the cloud or back to the data center. And then secondly, we wanted the ability to troubleshoot more effectively. Some of these problems, when you have a very large network like this, are very difficult to find. And sometimes our mean time to detect just isn't where we want it to be. And we thought with a solution like VeloCloud, with that ability to see into the traffic better, that we would have a better chance to find problems. And that was part of our analysis, actually. And we actually put it to the test, and we felt like we could improve those capabilities. So we're excited. We're rolling out SD-WAN as we speak, and looking forward to see what it can do for us.
Well, that's amazing. I really enjoy conversations like this with leaders that truly understand the technology and the benefits of the technology and how it allows them to innovate their business by being more efficient in their space. So first, I want to say thank you for being that type of leader. And also thank you for having this conversation with me. This was great. I will definitely remember this one because I have the similar setup as you. So
yeah, JT, it was great to meet with you. And yeah, we're out here trying to solve a lot of the same things. So I appreciate these forums where we can share ideas like this. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, Rich. It was a pleasure. Thank you for joining. If you're interested in hearing more conversations from other customers or interested in also telling your story, please feel free to reach out to the Converge User Group or go to our website at convergeusergroup.com. Thank you for joining.